Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Content Market Webinars by DICN. This webinar series, which takes place on the third Wednesday of each month, aims to share insights and experiences from experts in the industry. For this month, we will be covering the content accessibility, reaching the world with subtitles, dubbing, and multilingual narratives. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Norma Sbera. I'm managing Noon Language Solutions, a UAE-based company that provides subtitling and dubbing services. And I'm just so happy to be moderating this webinar, which falls directly within my scope of expertise in an industry that I love. Joining me today will be Mr. Aqeel Ahmed, Head of Marketing and Brand Strategy from Tabii TRT, offering a broadcaster's perspective on multilingual strategy and culture outreach. Mr. Miroslav Radojevic, representing Global Agency, a seasoned distributor of Turkish content, a genre that has successfully traveled regions thanks to the thoughtful localization and accessibility. And finally, Mr. Fredrik from DubHub, whose journey from international distribution to launching his own dubbing venture gives him a rare dual perspective. May I ask you all now to have your cameras and microphones switched on, please, so we can start our discussion?
Yeah, sure.
Good.
Hello,
Good afternoon.
everyone.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. I will give you a moment to greet everyone who is joining us today before we start our discussion. And if anyone wants to share anything else that other than what I already mentioned, it would be great.
Norma, thank you so much for inviting me to share the stage with Fredrik and Aqeel, and it's really a pleasure to discuss this very interesting topic. I received so many messages from people from the industry how to register this webinar session. So I'm expecting an interesting webinar, dynamic. So let's go.
Yeah. So welcome you, and welcome everyone who is joining us to start our discussion. I think it will be an interesting discussion, and I will start now. And the first thing that I want to discuss with you all that is it really that we are having this global audience demanding for localized and accessible storytelling? For me, I read a report by Reuters last month revealed that Netflix is receiving thousands of requests every month from users asking for more subtitle and dubbing language options. So we are now not just talking about a niche feature here. It's real and it's a global demand. People everywhere where are asking for content they can understand and connect with in their native languages. So Miroslav, let's start with you. Why do you think this shift is happening now? What's driving the surge in the demand for localized and accessible storytelling?
So before going to direct answer, I'll try to give to the audience perspective of sales perspective. So how it's going and how it looks like from a sales point of view. So I think there are a variety of reasons why it's going on. One of the most important things, I think it's a strong competition. Today, the TV channels, SVOD platforms, pay TV channels, they are fighting for subscribers. So this fight for subscribers mean providing better services for subscribers, and especially today when you have multiple number of choices. So one of the reasons might be like raising the bar and spoiling the, let's say, spoiling the TV audience and consumers. From the sales point of view, it's no doubt it's a big asset having something localized Turkish content, because Global Agency is recognized as one of the biggest independent distributor, and in our portfolio we are dealing mainly with the Turkish content. So it's a big advantage having something localized when we are talking about the Middle East in Arabic, or Africa, which is divided in three zones like Lusophone, Anglophone, and Francophone Africa. I guess these are my territories. I am responsible for these territories, but I think more or less it's similar in all other regions.
I don't know if any other of our speakers would like to add anything to this.
But I think Netflix did something extraordinary when they started to really invest enormous amount of money in localization. I mean, they may get requests on even more, but they are doing an enormous amount of whatever 30 dubs and I don't know 50, 180 subtitles. And they saw early that a hit can come from anywhere, and that's what I've been working on all my professional life, to find new source countries. Like the number one TV shows in the world was whatever Squid Game last year. The number one on Netflix last month was a quite low budget crime series from the northern Sweden. And that was dubbed in 30 languages, and it becomes more popular than any of the highest budgets US shows that traditionally we've been thinking, oh, that's the most interesting part in the world. They saw that partly because they were the first platform actually has the real data. When we've been selling like Turkish drama to new countries all the time, and it's a classic. This will never work in Italy, or this will never work here, until it did actually work fantastically well in Italy or whatever. So all those assumptions, Netflix and YouTube are the first ones to really get the data to understand what's actually working. And I think now the next step is that it's coming accessible, and we've seen an enormous amount of content that can compete, as Miroslav said it. I mean, it's an increased competition, but that also means that the best content wins if it's managed in the proper way, and that's a great opportunity, not at least for non-English language producers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. That maybe it's now that people are or maybe platforms are seeing an appetite for non-English non-English content, and I see like we are finally breaking the English first model of global entertainment.
Absolutely.
It's all happening because of the accessibility, the content accessibility via subtitles and dubbing.
Yeah, and also go ahead, Fred.
No, I mean, I summarized the top 10 in TV. I mean, in movies on Netflix last 1 week, and it was 60 million views on non-English language content and 40 million on English language content. So it is already bigger, which makes sense because it doesn't matter where it comes from anymore as long as it's good.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, Norma, so short answer to that is that people are just getting more demanding, right? So even my kid needs like 3 alternate endings to his bedtime stories, so keeping in line with the interactive shows that he watches. So there are, of course, a lot of major factors, and the streaming boom, which has led to content crossing borders at unprecedented rates, is one of the major reasons. The interesting thing was actually the turning point of it was according to me, was when the mobile phone as a medium for content consumption has actually added the rocket fuel to that. And I remember when mobile phone content consumption just started, people thought, who's going to watch an entire series alone on the small screen, and when it's available on your big screen. But obviously overestimated people's concerns for good posture and eye health. Not to mention the fact that family time and bonding was going to go out the window. So Global viewers now are no longer satisfied with just consuming in English language, even if it is a language that they may understand. So they want stories in their language, their dialect, with their cultural nuances. So the demand is one side. But from the platform's point of view, because subscriber growth is plateauing in the Western markets and maybe like North America and Europe, the lever for growth is now in the regions where language becomes key, right? And so localization is now a strategic lever for growth and not just a service, which is why it's starting to boom so much.
Yeah, okay. So basically, we can say that platforms are now responding to this demand by adopting uh, localization as uh, a strategic step when they are maybe expanding to new regions or to gain viewers from all over the world. And it was also in the same report, Netflix revealed also that they have like the third of Netflix global viewership comes from non-English shows, which support what we already discussed. And we know that Netflix as a global leader, their decision is likely to influence others in the industry. So now, Aqeel, you see that all platforms they have to adopt this strategy in regard the multi-language options.
Right.
No,
So
I think that, yeah, shoot.
yeah, so you can see that the platforms, especially the global leaders like Netflix, Disney, Amazon, they have clearly moved localization to the center of their growth strategy. So they're no longer treating it as post-production step, but it is being built into the creative process from day one. So the strategy has now shifted where they are not exporting Western content to the world, but as Fredrik also said, they are creating local content and exporting it to the West and the rest of the world. And they don't just dub or subtitle content, they commission locally developed originals with culturally embedded narratives, right? And that's when it travels across borders. The Korean, Spanish, Indian dramas have found global audiences everywhere because they're authentic and accessible everywhere in your language, right? So yes, some platforms still, see the localization as a service, but the others are seeing it as a revenue driver and it's a growth engine for the
Okay,
people for the people who haven't been able to do it and are still treating localization as an optional, they will be left behind eventually.
okay. From your experience with Tabii, can you share something about the strategy that you adopted in Tabii, like especially that you are being one of the fastest growing platforms in the region here in the MENA? How have subtitles and multilingual versions influenced your audience growth and engagement in the region?
In the MENA region specifically, well, so see,
And
because
any
so see, all our content is Turkish, right? So everything we do, because the Turkish language is not widely spoken outside except for the diaspora, everything we do needs to be dubbed and subtitled. So that becomes very central to everything that we do. Um, Admittedly, we haven't yet experimented as much with AI. We are still very much using native speakers who do the content and quality checks that happened on a manual level to make sure that everything is very culturally sensitive and everything is resonating with the viewers across various languages. So it's very popular in MENA, the Turkish content, but is also very popular in South Asia. So we are using that, and because, as I said, our original language is Turkish, dubbing and subtitling become the only way that we can grow and cross borders.
Okay, but what I mean actually is, do you rely on trusted vendors in this side, or do you have your in-house team that they are managing the whole process in multiple languages?
Yes.
So you have Arabic team, let's say, that supervise everything that's happening in this area, and make sure that the quality you are presenting through your platform is convenience, let's say, not more.
Yeah, it is. It is in-house at the moment. So we are completely in-house, but because we are looking at market by market, so because MENA was the first market that we've gone into, we are doing everything in-house. But eventually, when we start to expand, it will need to be outsourced along with the QC being held with us.
Okay, that's a great something to hear. So there is another trend that worth highlighting here, especially when if we zoom out a little bit from just series or films and look at how people engage with content on social media platforms. According to a recent report from HubSpot, 63% of consumers prefer relatable and authentic videos over polished and high production value ones. This preferences span platforms including TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and increasingly SVOD platforms. In short, authenticity is a key drives across all formats and platforms. And this puts adaptation in the spotlight even more because when we adapt content thoughtfully, we are not just translating words. We are preserving tone, humor, context, and voice. All the things that make a story feel real and relevant. From your experience, Fred, how do you see this shift toward authenticity influencing the way you adapt content for global audience? Can you share any case study where success of a localized version was tied to how authentic it felt to the target audience?
No, I mean that's an interesting one. What we, I mean, we have been basically two words. One is this highly moderated content on SVOD platforms, which is the high end of the market. But then there is the rest, which is YouTube and all the social media, where the audience is much more tolerant to different variation of quality. I mean, Turkish drama has been growing mainly in popularity because it has always been available free on YouTube. And there you have quite a lot of people actually watching it with automated subtitles, which is horrible in any professional view.
Yeah.
But I think the reach of getting out there is important. We did. I was running Echo Rights before I sold it to CJ and to German investors. And there we did quite a lot of. We actually did language versions. So if we have a YouTube channels with, let's say, 5 billion views, we invested or got access to audio dubs, and then we multiplied the audience 3-4 times and also the revenues. So I think the real shift now is that it's getting you get access to the whole. I mean, Netflix is maybe spending 100,000 euros per hour in adapting it just in Europe in different dubbed versions. Now we can do that with like typically the AI technology we're using now, and that is developing quickly. We can do that for 1/10 of that, maybe 10,000 to do all the languages in Europe, and that's a huge opportunity. But your question was more about the authenticity and the quality, and I would say, I mean, AI is developing. I just had a meeting with our developers, and the new emotion transfer in the new AI models that we're using is just amazing. So I mean, the machine will manage that in a perfect way because the large language models learn quickly and they adapt to implement the emotions for that specific audience. I mean, the test we've seen so far is quite early. That will happen a lot. So I think authenticity is very important, but we will get there in more automatic ways. But then still the manual touch of making a good adaptation will still be very important in the foreseeable future. If you don't make a good final sound mix, if you don't cast the voices properly, if you don't moderate the tone and things, but everything is getting easier and getting cheaper to do. That's for sure, and that's great news for everybody because we can reach new audiences.
Okay, it's. I was about to bring the AI topic to the discussion because when we talk about authenticity and nuances, it's very important for everyone to know if is AI making things easier when it comes to localization and adaptation, or maybe it's just a tool that we are using to make things more fast or to scale more rather than, but still we need the human touch. I mean, the hybrid model that will merge between the AI and the human supervision. What do you think about this?
I think we've seen an early stage where a lot of technicians came in and said, "Oh, we can do this amazing," and they put it in a machine and expected to get it out on the other side, and it's the result is quite horrible. What I think, like, to make a good AI dub and any kind of dub is all about how good editors you have, how good sound engineers you have to make a really good delivery, and that's a craft that still will be needed. But of course, every part of the process will be smoother and more easy to do and involve less human work. But the end result is, it's not that different from running an AI dubbing studio from a normal localization studio. It's quite similar. It's just that you direct the machine instead of the actors, and you get a lot of help. So it's certainly becoming cheaper.
Okay. If anyone else would like to add to the usage of AI in dubbing and subtitling and localization in general, you are welcome to share your thoughts.
I just would like to add something what I see in practice across MENA region and Africa. And yes, we are living in an era where AI is, let's say, dominating in this or the other way. But here, yes, if you want to do something fast, you go with AI. But if you want to do something like good quality, then you definitely need human touch. This is the situation right now. But what's going to happen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? It's really difficult to say, because we started receiving requests from some dubbing studios, like licensing any kind of content to train AI. So to train, I guess, emotions and to teach a machine how to do that. Personally, I'm not sure. I prefer. I'm a bit old school, and I prefer to have a human touch, because in the Middle East it's very important. Even though if you look at Middle East as one region, MENA region as one region, so Syrian dialect is widely spoken, and let's say Algerians can understand, or Tunisian, Moroccans, they have local Darija dialect, but they can understand the Syrian dialect. It's not the same. If they do their own dubbing, it's not understandable from the rest of the Middle East. But what I see, it's very important, the cast, voice selection. So if you have a good voice selection, then you secure better ratings, better performance of the show, no matter what kind of the show. Turkish content is very popular in the Middle East, but this localization sometimes can make a difference. And some show on the paper or in Turkey performing not that much good, with good localization can just turn the situation and make a better ratings, a better performance in the Middle East.
Yes, I totally understand, and I want to agree with you that the Turkish content is spread in the MENA region because of the good localization, and the Syrian accent is actually widely understandable, not spoken. It's that everyone understand the Syrian accent rather than that it's widely spoken. Here, when we speak about AI, it's important to mention that in the MENA region we have different dialects. This makes the to use AI more effectively more challenging for us. And in general, uh, in my point of view, I think that AI tools in general, it's something that to be adapted from the dubbing houses, not only by a platform or by a distributor or by the audience. Let's say it's a tool that it's meant to us to use to cut time and hopefully cut costs because it's slightly affecting the costs and the experiments. It's very important to experiment how to use AI and where to use it exactly, and depends, and it really depends on the type of the project itself. Because when you are dubbing for YouTube, let's say, it's very different when you are dealing with an OTT platform or a TV network that it's has their repetition, and they rely on the good quality and high quality, and also they have censorship that they have to apply to. So many factors will play a key role in adapting AI to which type of content and to any type of platforms. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
Yeah, so I think we can all agree that the time and cost as of now with AI as it is today, time and cost seem to be the two levers that solves for. But in terms of where it could be in a few years, I think that it would probably be able to solve even the dialects issue. So by using different dialects to train it, I'm sure it would be able to solve the dialects issue. What it may not be able to solve is things like comedy. So because it's so culturally nuanced,
Mm,
comedy doesn't travel well as a genre. Even Turkish content, we've seen that because the comedy is so local, it becomes
mm,
very difficult to localize it to different cultures. And that, I think, is where the human touch and having content creators at the stage where the content is being made and being able to localize it there, that's where AI will not be able to, at least at this point, will not
mm,
be able to contribute in the localization.
But there are development being done there as well, because basically a large language model, but it's basing the whole thing. The idea is that it's learning, so it is what you put in and what you analyze. And if you want to create comedy, it can do that as well. But we are in a transition period. It's a revolution that is happening, and in the beginning, a lot of people come in and say, "Okay, we can do dubbing at $3 an hour," and of course the result is shit. But if you, instead of going from $20 an hour down to 10, and you still use a really good experienced team with a casting director who knows how to cast a voice, which may be even more, I mean, it's as difficult as casting a real human to know the machine, and then doing a proper sound and edit and adding those components, then the result can be quite good. And it's improving, and it's going to be really good. But there is no doubt that that's where the development is going. But in the transition, I think there are a few hurdles. Don't expect top result for no money. And maybe starting, we're working a lot of documentaries now and reality series that works really well. Drama, we're getting there. We're launching a new emotion transfer model this summer, and then I think the drama can be really good quite quickly, because it's amazing if you just put in the emotion transfer, then it's becoming really, really good. And that's a development just in the last months, where we have found new models and applicating it in new ways. So it's an interesting area, but the skills will still be needed there to do it properly.
okay.
I totally agree with all of you guys, and I think the one of the important points when you unveil this subject is maintaining ecosystem, because dubbing studios are the part of the ecosystem in our industry. So we are facing with the situation that many of dubbing studios won't exist anymore, or there will not be the need for. I'm receiving message from Irina that my tone of voice is not good enough, but my mic is.
We need to prompt you differently.
It's up 100%. So let me switch it off. Maybe
We hear you. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay for me, at least.
if it's better now, I will continue like this.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So I think the key is actually to understand from the perspective of dubbing studios where you can cut the costs and decrease the dubbing fee and subtitling fee, but at the same time keep good quality of the dubbing and subtitling. That's something what is very important in order to stay in the game. Because if you pretend and if you keep high prices, even though if you go with some syndication or something like that, it's not working like that. So I think it's a edging point to learn how to use artificial intelligence in a smart way, how to improve and to get this support and help to cut the costs and to deliver still good quality of dubbing and subtitling. That's something what is, I think, crucial at the moment.
As in every changing market, of course, the way it's done today will be done differently and much more efficiently. But it's also expanding because, let's say, for example, there are 250,000 hours of Turkish drama in the archive that is mainly produced in the last 10 years. And of course, I would say probably 50,000 on those is worth putting in YouTube on 10 languages. So I think what we are seeing is that there's a pyramid. There are maybe like 50 YouTube channels with more than 100 million subscribers. There are 30,000 YouTube channels with 1 to 50 million subscribers. That's a lot of channels, and it makes economic sense to dub those and adapt those into, let's say, 5-10 languages. So there is an enormous market because it's not the existing that you go to an SVOD platform and you produce for Netflix. The whole market of adaptation will boom. At some point, of course, you may assume that the machine will do it all. But in the meantime, there is a lot of things to adapt and to dub into new languages and create new revenue that we haven't seen yet. So I think if you adapt as an adaptation studio or as a content owner to understand if you have a YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers or 2, then you can triple the revenue that you have today if you just do it in new languages. And so far it has only been, if you're Mr. Beast or Nicky and Vicky or something that has 100 million subscribers, they're doing it manually. I mean, Mr. Beast, they have 30 people just doing adaptation, and they're paying for it because they're making so much money. But if you're in the middle segment, the technique will allow you to reach the world, which is pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, from my perspective and from my experience working in the Arabic localization, in terms of dubbing, I think it's so essential to keep the script adaptation within human hands because it's very important to monitor the quality after that. I mean, even if we used voice alteration or speech to text, it's text to speech. Sorry, it's very important the text to be well done first, and this will affect the other stages of the whole process. And I can't say other than I can admit that in terms of subtitling, it's doing well, and it will need the human supervision for sure because the aware of context. If you are translating multiple episodes from one series, AI might lose the context in general, but this could be worked out, figured out using prompt enhancement actually. So it's doing good, but I think it's very important to experience very well and to make it work at the same at the suitable stage of working. Not every stage should include AI. This is my perspective before we jump to the other topic, which is how subtitles and dubbed content are driving viewership growth. So also I'm so sorry I've mentioned Netflix several times, but because They are the global streamer that they are influencing the whole international market. So they also last year they shared some very insightful data on the how dubbing helped them uh, their Korean content reach a truly global uh, audience. For example, they said that over 40% of all viewing for Korean series on Netflix is dubbed, with regions like Brazil, Mexico, Latam, EMEA showing a strong preference for dubbing over subtitles. So uh, this is it's not just something about convenience. It's connected to viewer behaviors like family viewing habits. You know, if a family want to gather and watch a series, dubbing would be a convenience for them for multiple ages, and also the difference level of readability and literacy across markets. All these factors are driving the preferences of the viewers if they want dubbing over subtitles or subtitles over dubbing. So uh, I would like to ask Aqeel actually if they have ever worked on a title where viewer numbers noticeably grew after dubbing or subtitling was added.
Yeah, so actually we've got the perfect example for this. So I there is a show called Dirilish Ertuğrul. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this show, but it was a popular show in Turkey. It did pretty successfully here. But when we dubbed it into Urdu, and at that time, it wasn't even a time where transcreation or localization was the center of what we did. It was plain and simple dubbing. It just took off. And the amount of viewership that those videos on YouTube have got, I mean, as of last, I think we were more than 11 billion with a B. You know, that number of views that we had for Ethereal, and just the fandom of that show. There were Ethereal themed weddings happening. There were fan gatherings happening, and it became a cultural phenomenon. And the trigger of that was the dubbing. So that is the best example that I can give. And even though uh, it wasn't perfect, the dubbing, it still managed to do so well. And of course, Squid Games is another example. The first season, I think the dubbing was quite shoddy actually from Netflix's high standards for Squid Games in the first season, the dubbing in English. But it still did great. Of course, these are outliers. For every success, there are 1,000 failures of if you don't do a good job in dubbing.
Yeah.
In Tabii, of course, as I said, all of our content is Turkish, so and it needs to be dubbed and sub to travel. But interestingly enough, we find that a lot of our viewers want to hear the original Turkish dialogue, so that they can some of the words. So subtitles work as well for us as dubbing does in some markets, which is quite interesting. And another market which is very interesting is from my previous company when I was in Disney in India, is of course India is a whole different ballgame altogether, because just the number of languages in the country makes it very difficult to go pan India with one language, even if it's a national language. So regional languages are really leading the growth in broadcast there as well as streaming, and that's where dubbing, especially in India, is huge, because the languages that are there, even though it's possible for me to understand another language, of course, the hundreds of languages there, but even though it's possible for me to understand spoken, it's not possible to read the language. So literacy levels there, not only from in general, but even from one language to the other, because they're different scripts, is very low, which is why dubbing is so popular there. We haven't spoken about sports actually, because we've been only talking about drama, but sports, multi-language commentary is creating huge audiences, much more reach, much more popularity for sports. So it's very interesting, and even coming back to Tabi, because we have India and Pakistan as markets for us, and those are huge markets for us for Turkish content. The languages which both the countries speak, which is Urdu and Hindi respectively, very interestingly, the audible quality of the language is the same. So the people from both countries can understand the language when it's spoken, but they cannot read each other's language most of the time. Again, there, dubbing is the only way. So even us at Tabii, although we use subtitles a lot, in these markets, we prefer only dubbing because of the reasons I mentioned. So these are a lot of examples that we have where subtitling works separately, dubbing works in some different markets, and what kind of success it can drive when it's done. So
I think the best example there is, I mean, an amazing case is the ATV series Kurulus Osman, that has like 11 million subscribers on YouTube in the Turkish version. They've launched the Urdu version, and that's got another 11 million subscribers. And I think, I mean, when I was at Echo Rights, we had like a lot of daily series, and the Turkish version may have had like 2-3 million subscribers. And then we launched Urdu, Hindi, Spanish, Arabic, and we got the same amount of viewers. And I think that's just the beginning. And the amount of viewers means the double the revenue. So if you make $3 million from the Turkish channel, you can make 3 to 6 million from the adapted versions. And that's a lot of money. I mean, and the CPM is also growing. And if you reach to higher CPM markets through dubbing, the potential is enormous to make huge revenue, and then it will also fund. I mean, it will finance the effort to make a good localization. But it doesn't have to be perfect to start. I mean, get going is more important, and then you can upgrade if you get more revenues. But I think the YouTube viewers are much less picky because they are used to a different environment than an SVOD platform or Netflix or something. And it's okay. I mean, can also like Polish dubbing, that's like, there has always been one voiceover, like a sports commentator to a drama series there that, you know, now he says this and he says this. And I mean, that's like one voice and it costs nothing. And they're used to that and they're watching that. So in Sweden, I'm very unused to dubbing because we have always had subtitling. So it's a bit of a habit that you have in that specific media to access the content.
Okay, I understand. Now, I want to ask Miroslav about if there is a different in preferences, because you know you work in two different territories, MENA and Africa. So do MENA, let's say, prefer dubbing over subtitling, and Africa the same preferences, or they have a different kind of preferences?
I think it's a matter of there are a variety of reasons behind these habits, but I think it's one of the main. It's a cultural thing. For example, in the Middle East, audience prefers to have dubbed version and to watch TV series, TV content dubbed into Arabic. So Gulf GCC countries plus Lebanon, Syria, they prefer Syrian dialect as I already explained. Northern Africa, they prefer localization. They prefer local versions. Of course, if the channels have budgets to cover these costs. In Africa, it's I would say all Africa, Lusophone Africa, Angola and Mozambique as the main territories, Francophone of Africa and Ivory Coast as and Cameroon as the main territories, and South Africa is a leading country of Anglophone Africa. They prefer dubbed version. But personally, I mean, I'm coming from the region Southeast Europe, and over there, as Fredrik said, in Sweden, they prefer to watch local version with subtitles. It's the same habit in Montenegro, in a small country where I come from. We prefer to watch original language with subtitles. While, for example, in Italy, they always do dubbing into Italian. So it might be like a cultural difference.
Okay, so Miroslav, I also have a question for you from the audience, actually. They are asking, from a distributor point of view, how are clients in MENA and Africa prioritizing localized content packaging now? Is it a deal breaker without localization? It's a good question.
It's a good question. As a distributor, we don't prefer to invest into dubbing because we don't own the content. So sometimes we do for some specific clients, and it might be a deal breaker. So as I said in the beginning of the webinar, it's a great asset if you have a local version, if you have dub version into Arabic or English or French or Portuguese. It's a really big advantage. And when we come to the in the Middle East, also the quality is important and depends on the client. Bigger clients, they prefer really good dubbing, the quality. Smaller channels, more or less. In Africa, it passes almost everything, unless South Africa, where they really take care of the quality of the dubbing, and they invest also significant amount of money into localization. So yes, it's very important sales tool and big advantage if you have it. And from the buyer's perspective, also it might be deal breaker because at the same time it's a saving. If you saving money, if you have a dub version, so you don't need to invest into dubbing. But from my point of view, it's always dubbing is not the cost. I would say it's an investment. It's a revenue driver because in the end of the day, all these channels are fighting for the audience, for ratings. So better localization always mean better reach and better performance.
Yeah, I liked
But I
so
think
much what you already shared, because I think it's very important to change the terms people are using. So localization is an investing, not a spending.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think
Yeah.
it's like a strategic investment, and there the Turkish government has been very clever, and I think that's one reason why it has been the export has grown so much, is that they have been subsidizing 50% of the dubbing costs. And I think the Turkish producers should realize, and any content owner, that it is a strategic investment, because we did quite often that we dubbed it from start. We just at Eco Rights, we just took the cost and then we hope to recover at some point. But there it's a bit difficult if it's a different distribution and different P&L from the content owner. But I think I mean, if you spend whatever 400,000 an hour or an episode to produce something, then to do some money extra to localize it and make, because sooner or later you will find an audience that will pay for it. So what we are offering now is like to do 10 languages from start. And I think any major production should do that, and then it's more, you're better in negotiation control also as a distributor if you control the language asset. So I think that's becoming more a strategic asset for any content owner to actually do it properly from start.
Just
Okay.
one thing to add what Fredrik actually said, and it's a good point of view regarding Turkish government and supporting funds for the dubbing. I think it's a good support to the producer and distributors of
Super
Turkish
clever.
content. But behind the reason of the government to support, it's one to support the industry, which is growing, and it's one of the leading in the world. And the second is actually soft power, and the language is one of the tools to spread the soft power. And now in the Middle East, since Turkish content existing in the Middle East since 2006, the first title came, I think it was 1001 Nights, global agency title, and later on continue with much more. Now you have new generation speaking Turkish, Arabs speaking and understanding Turkish language, and actually they prefer to watch the series in Turkish language with Arabic subtitle, for example. So this is very,
We
very,
should
very, very interesting.
we should
Yeah, go
we
ahead.
should teach the government to buy less bombs and rockets and instead invest in language assets.
Exactly. I mean, it's a really
That's a,
big. Yeah,
that's a peace message of today, I think.
yeah. We should,
Yeah.
as entertainment providers, we should always prefer entertainment and sending different messages. Definitely, it's much more entertaining.
Okay,
Yes.
so let's jump to our final part to have time to take the questions that we are getting from our joiners. So the final part will be about now we are seeing a growing awareness if a show or a film is expected to cross borders, localization can't be afterthought. It's something that we all agreed on, and it needs to be considered in the development phase. At the same time, we have this exciting innovation happening in the tech side. Also, we have audience behavior evolve. We are seeing new formats emerge from micro dramas and episodic short content to growing platforms like YouTube for both storytelling and discovery. In light of all of that, what's next? What is the next big move in content accessibility, creatively and technologically? Let's try to see what you have insights about it. What do you think that it's coming next in this area? Fred, would you like to start?
Sure. I mean, there are different ways, new formats like microdramas. Obviously, a lot of content that is created from AI from start. My girlfriend is a writer, and some of her colleagues has suspiciously starting to produce 4 or 5 novels per year. Obviously, that's like because they may not write it themselves. So I think we will see a huge shift in new formats. And then, of course, that also includes that once you do it, you can also do it in different versions and different languages. So I think we've only seen, we are very early in this stage. I mean, don't forget that 11 Labs, who is now like one of the leading tech suppliers of the dubbing industry, AI dubbing, they got founded 2 years ago. It's super early. And I think we will see this development accelerate because I was in with some tech guys yesterday, and they explained it like it's, every other development in humanity has been quite slow, but now it's like an exponential growth of most of those things, because when the machines start to learn the machine, that's what it's all about. It goes very quick. So we need to find that balance but develop new formats for it. That I think now it's an exciting time to be in.
Yeah, that's
And I
another.
think, in terms of tech, I think you'll see a lot of hyper local languages coming up, dialects, accent customization. These sort of things will probably become the norm. And you can prefer the voice actors, switch the emotions. These sort of things, I think, the bells and whistles will start to come up. But of course, the core of it, I think, will still need human interaction and the ability to pick out cultural nuances, because it's very easy to turn off audiences for a very small error in culturally understanding a particular area. So as much as AI will start to go through the roof in terms of what you can do with it in voices and narrators and choosing the kind of speed at which the narration is happening and all of that. That is, I think, secondary. But what we need to make sure is that at least culturally things are being understood, and from a content creation stage, it needs to be understood then. So maybe as a closing thought, that the next DICM seminar will have real-time generated language options to listen in. So you can hear
Yeah.
me speaking in Morgan Freeman's voice in French.
Maybe.
That's a combination my wife would like permanently on me. So we'll have to see how AI will solve that problem.
So let's say, in short, that technology will lead the way for the future of accessibility.
Yep.
I
You
think
agree?
that's the case, but still, you need very good humans to run it, and that's a difference between suppliers. So I think you should be, if you're acquiring the new technology or services from new tech company, make sure that they understand the actual trade, because it's not different from directing and producing a good TV series to directing and producing a good audio dub. You need to be really good in knowing what you're doing. And there, the tech guys should be not in the driver's seat, but in the back seat, with a very supporting role. But let's put the creative people in the driver's seat.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we can start now. Take the questions from the audience, and here I have a question for you, Fred. Regarding IPs and the fact that voice catalog and drag must belong to the dub studio, how
Mhm.
you see the future of voice cloning?
I think we were in the beginning. It was a big thing. Oh, we managed to clone Morgan Freeman or so. But it's more and more. We actually more and more prompting the voices nowadays. So you create the prompt, what kind of voice, because to clone the original voice, the result is not fantastic at the moment compared to prompting. So I think because actors has never gotten royalties when they were dubbed into another language by another actor. Of course, if you want to use the original voice, I think a royalty system is. I mean, that if we do that, we normally pay royalty, or the actor gets an extra fee when signs off those rights. But it has been a big discussion. But I think it's less so now, because it is not really ideal to clone, and when there is no IP to. But of course. Then, like I mean, we've also been approached by big American tech companies who want to buy 2 million hours of Turkish drama, and they're going to pay a little fee for it to train the robots or train the machines, and that's appealing. But no, it's a difficult time to understand what is what, and if we are feeding the monster by doing that. But I think it will be worked out. If you put your voice in the library, then you get royalty from the system. So that is being worked out, and that may be good revenues.
Yeah. Okay. So another question for Miroslav. They are asking, what new accessibility features or formats are buyers asking for today compared to 5 years ago? Is there any
I,
specific formats or
yeah.
accessibility
It's
features?
connected somehow with your previous question, because you said what's going to happen in the future. So in terms of these technical things, and I think machine definitely will drive the future. But in terms of content, and in terms of being creative, I think this is the role for the humans, because we're gonna still need good script for the good series, and I don't believe that machines could be able to create a good script. So the same is here regarding your question. Uh, didn't change too much. What was the demand 5 years ago and now in terms of Turkish content? Sometimes, I mean, it's always typical Turkish drama, typical Turkish dizi, love, family affairs. Sometimes you see changing the trends and requesting more, let's say, rom-coms, romantic comedies, less dramas, but more or less it's the same content what we've been selling 5 years ago and now, in terms of Of course, the series are different, but in terms of demand and the clients, TV audience, it's more or less the same.
Yeah, okay. Thank you all for the insights you've shared today. We are running out of time now. So I would like to wrap up this webinar. That's it all for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. A special thank to Aqeel, Miroslav, and Fredrik for joining us today. And in case you didn't watch the full session, a recording of this webinar will be published on the icm.ae website by next week.
It was pleasure, Norma. Thank you.
Thanks for your work and effort of bringing it together. Well done.
Thanks to all of you.
Thank
Take
you.
Thanks
care.
for
Bye-bye.
bringing your insights. Thank you. Bye-bye.
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 Okay. For the next webinar, don't forget to buckle up your calendars, because the next webinar will have a hot topic: global TV trends. What genres are winning trends? Hertz in 2025, which will stream live on 18th June 2025. And in case you don't already know, Dubai International Content Market will be taking place from 4th to the 5th of November this year. And for more information, you can visit their website, dicm.ae. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and goodbye.